breakups and in relationships, or just realizing that you are unhappy in your current dynamic are always difficult. However, there is a specific psychological mechanism present in relationships with avoidance that makes these situations even harder. And they keep you stuck in self doubt and guilt. No matter how hard you try, on some level, it feels almost impossible to move on sometimes. Or the process happens much, much slower than you would want or you would expect it to happen. And you might even feel a deep, unexplainable connection with that person on an energetic level, as if a part of you is still tied to them, making it even harder to fully let go. And before I explain this mechanism in detail, here is a clip that perfectly demonstrates it in a metaphorical way.
Close your eyes. I've got you. I'm sorry.
Okay, have you guessed what it is? What is it when one moment you feel on top of the world, as if that person is your ultimate source of love, fulfillment, and safety? Almost like they complete you, only for the next moment to feel like you are falling from a great height. Suddenly you are left disoriented, hurt, and desperately craving for that first high again. And you might think that this dynamic is caused by the other person's behavior, and with avoidance, the push pull cycle certainly plays a role, but not the main role. And that's not the real cause. Instead, it just creates the perfect setting for this psychological mechanism to take hold. The more inconsistent and unavailable someone is, the more this mechanism intensifies, keeping you emotionally hooked even after the relationship ends. And this is why relationships with avoidance can feel so almost impossible to move on from sometimes. The biggest detour in self development, one that leads to a dead end, is trying to explain what's happening inside you through another person's actions or choices. The other person only provides the setting to trigger a mechanism that already exists within you. But chasing answers outside yourself keeps you stuck in the same cycle, never truly breaking free. So, this mechanism is idealization. Idealization is a protective mechanism that distorts your perception of the other person. The more prone you are to it, the higher you will feel and the harder you will fall. The highs will be intoxicating, the lows will be devastating, and the breakup will feel even more painful. This keeps you emotionally stuck, preventing you from truly moving on, even when on a mental level you understand that it is time to let go. But the exit is where the entrance is. Once you understand how idealization works, and more importantly, what it protects you from, that awareness alone becomes a huge step toward moving on and breaking free from patterns that may be repeating in your life. Very few things influence your life as much as the defense mechanisms your psyche uses. Becoming aware of which ones you're prone to is one of the most powerful steps you can take, because until you see them clearly, they will keep shaping your emotions, relationships, decisions, and how the world reacts to you, without you even realizing it. First, it is important to understand that all protective mechanisms roughly fall into two categories: mature and immature. The difference between them lies in how much you pay upfront and how much you pay later. Immature or primitive defense mechanisms are easy to activate because they don't require much psychological effort in the moment, but the real price is paid later, and it is paid in the form of distorted perception, emotional instability, and a loss of touch with reality. You might think this is uncommon. You might even think, well, I'm in touch with reality, but you'd be surprised by how widespread this disconnection truly is. Our society is becoming increasingly borderline, and here borderline does not refer to a borderline disorder. It refers to a borderline psychic structure. Borderline means being on the border between pretty much going crazy and completely out of touch with the reality, but also not quite being in touch with the reality. More and more people rely on primitive defense mechanisms like splitting, projection, and idealization, which distort their perception of themselves, others, and their relationships. Here, being out of touch with reality often looks like repeating unhealthy relationship patterns, misreading people's intentions, or clinging to illusions rather than seeing things as they are. And a clear example of how high the price is paid later for primitive defense mechanisms is being emotionally stuck on an avoidant partner. As you can guess, idealization is one of these primitive defense mechanisms. The more your mind relied on idealization to create a sense of security and hope, the harder it becomes to let go. You're not just attached to the person, you are attached to the version of them your psyche constructed, along with the future you envision together. This is the cost of relying on a defense mechanism that distorts reality. Even when logic tells you it's time to move on, the emotional bond remains, keeping you stuck in a cycle that is difficult to break. So, what is idealization exactly? So once you understand this mechanism, it will also help you move on 1,000 times faster. Idealization is a defense mechanism, and like all defense mechanisms, it is wired to reduce anxiety in the face of uncertainty and difficult emotions such as helplessness, rejection, or fear. At its core, idealization is the psyche's attempt to fill in inner emptiness, where emptiness does not mean nothingness, but rather parts of ourselves that have been either rejected, suppressed, or just never fully discovered. How it works? We unconsciously assign to another person the qualities we feel we lack in order to create a sense of wholeness and stability. We also project onto them qualities that we believe will protect us from uncertainty, from emotional pain, or from feeling small and powerless in the face of life's unpredictability. By doing so, we create the illusion that they are the missing piece, the source of strength, safety, or love that we believe we need. But because idealization is not based on reality, it eventually collapses, leaving a deep sense of loss, not just of the person, but of the version of ourselves we attach to them. The reason idealization is fueled when accompanied by the natural tendency of an avoidant is that they don't come close enough for you to experience the kind of disappointment that would naturally dissolve idealization. Without true closeness, the idealized image remains unchallenged, keeping you emotionally stuck and preventing the relationship from evolving into something real and grounded. This dynamic never fully kills hope, and while we usually associate hope with something positive, when hope is a byproduct of idealization, it becomes a source of being stuck rather than moving on. Instead of allowing reality to take its course, this false hope keeps you chasing the illusion of what could be rather than accepting what is. Since idealization is a defense mechanism that protects against uncertainty and difficult emotions, breaking free means developing emotional intelligence and increasing emotional capacity. Research suggests that emotional intelligence plays a critical role in success, often outweighing technical skills or IQ, especially in leadership, in relationships in general. Interpersonal skills and self-awareness are the key predictors of achievement. Emotional intelligence starts with allowing yourself to fully experience emotions. It is just like training a muscle. The more emotional capacity you build, the less your psyche relies on primitive defense mechanisms like idealization. This means a clearer connection to reality, real opportunities, and deeper, more authentic relationships. You can start with a small step right now. What is that one feeling that you are so afraid to experience that idealization protects you from? And once you identify it, it's important to say it out loud. Even that I'm afraid, fill in the blank with the feeling you're afraid of, I still love and fully accept myself. And I want to share something that I find truly beautiful about how everything is connected and how deeply true this phrase is. The outside always mirrors what is inside. The deepest wound in relationships with avoidance is usually the pain of feeling neglected or rejected. But what is idealization? It is when we reject the real person and choose a fantasy over them. Rejection does not start when an avoidant pulls away. It already happened the moment idealization took over. Leave a comment below if you found this video helpful. It's the best way to support the channel, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, and feel free to suggest ideas for future videos. This channel is dedicated to the healing power of psychology, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.